In this video, you are going to learn how to use the discussion function in Canvas. So just like for the assignments, you're going to find the module that you want to add your discussion to. You're going to click the plus button. And at the top, from the assignments, like we learned before, instead of adding an assignment, you want to add a discussion. So you're going to go ahead and click on that drop-down menu and scroll down to discussion. Now that you've selected a discussion, you need to name your discussion. So you're going to click new topic and you're going to type your name here. We'll just call it test discussion. And you'll add that item. So now in my module, my discussion shell pops up here. You need to edit this to add your directions and to assign it to your student. So you're going to go ahead and click it, which will take you to a page that looks like this. You're going to go ahead and select edit. And just like for your assignment, you need to type your instructions and include any links in this text box that pops up here. So you can type whatever you want here. This is exactly what the students will see. So here are my directions. Click this link to view the video, or whatever you want your students to do. You can add a question. And then tell the students how you want them to respond. So this is exactly what your students will see. Just like in your assignments, you have a bunch of different options to customize what the students see. You have your bulleted list, you have your numbered list, bolding, linking things using your Google Apps, however you want that to appear for your students. Underneath your text box here, you have your sections that you're going to post it to. Right now I'm posting it to all my sections. And then I could add an attachment if I'd like to. So I could attach a file that I want the students to view, just like inserting a link up here. Your options are going to be a little bit different than your options are for an assignment. First of all, you have to decide if you want the students to be able to reply to each other. So if you're going to allow them to reply to each other, you would want to click this, allow thread replies. If you are going to select this option, I would highly recommend also selecting the next option. Users must post before seeing replies. This is going to ensure that the students actually have watched whatever video, read whatever document you want them to look at prior to responding, and they're not just reading through all of their classmates' responses and mimicking something that has already been stated. So this function will keep all of the responses hidden until they have replied on their own. And then once they press submit, then all of those other replies that have already been generated will pop up for them so they can still see them, but they'll have to post first. The next thing that you would want to look at is this graded option. Sometimes you might just want to pull your students, have them respond to a discussion question, and it's not necessarily graded. You're just asking them a question and you want them to respond to it. Maybe it's a brainstorm feed that you want to have going. Maybe it's just a weekly check-in. You're asking them how they are, things like that. So you wouldn't necessarily need to check this graded option. If this is something that you want graded, you need to check this box. And once you check this box, a few other options are going to be popping up for you. So you'll see it kind of changes what that looks like here once I select graded. Generally, I always click graded, even if I'm going to leave it at a 0 points, just because then I can set the parameters a little bit more specifically than you can if it's not graded. But that's really just a personal preference for what you'd like to do. The last option here is the allow liking. This is more just a fun option that you can leave open to the students. It's kind of like a social media like where the students can click the thumbs up button on their classmates' responses if they want to like what their classmates have said. If you don't want to give them that option, just leave it unchecked. Otherwise, you can check that. Down here is a group discussion feature. If you select this, a box will pop up asking you to set your groups. There is an additional video that talks about group sets and how to create groups. So if this is an option you'd like to use, you can go ahead and navigate to that video as well. For the sake of time in this video, we are not going to go over that. So I'm going to leave this unchecked. And then I will link to the video that talks about groups in the written instructions below. So if you are going to leave this graded checked, we're going to go over all of these different things that pop up here for graded. And then I'll go through at the end the options that pop up if I do not select graded. So just like for an assignment, if you're going to have this graded, you need to enter your possible points. So I'll make this out of 10 points. A lot of these options are similar to what the assignments options are. So I'm not going to go through them as detailed as I did in the assignment video because they're pretty similar. So again, you can choose how you want those displayed. If you would like this assignment to be synced to the gradebook, you would select that. The peer review allows a student to be assigned to review their classmates' work before they go ahead and submit it. So if you select that, you can decide how you want those peer reviews dispersed. So either manually or automatically. Canvas will do that for you. As soon as the student submits, it would be sent out to another student. And then last but not least is that assign piece. So just like for your assignments, you need to select a due date, an available date, and until date. So for your due date, you would click on the calendar and select a day in the future that you would like this to be due on. Remember, your available date has to be sometime before then. And then your until date can either be the exact same date and time as your due date, or if you want to give your students the flexibility of filling this out as late work, you could always select a date after that initial due date. If you are going with the graded option, this is the time when you would go down here and press save and publish or save. Remember from your assignment video that the save option is just going to save your work, but the students will not be able to see it. And the save and publish button is going to push that out to the students. They would get a notification that this discussion has been posted. Again, they won't be able to access it until the date that you put available from, but they will be able to see that you have added this discussion. So you go ahead and press either of those options. If you are not going to grade this, obviously your options are much more limited here than with the graded option. You can still have a group discussion if you'd like, but you're just going to have an available from and an available to date. This means at any time between these two dates, the students can access this. So just like for your assignments, you would want to select a date that this is open from and a date that it closes. Again, the available from has to be before the available until. If you're using this as just like a weekly check-in, you might want to have it open on Monday, close on Friday, or you could technically leave your discussions open for comment for however long you want. If you don't want to set a date and you just always want them to be open as like a discussion board or a brainstorm board, you don't ever have to set an until date. You can just leave it open for as long as they're in the course. One thing I would suggest for this option, since it's not graded, it's not going to show up on their calendars, and it's not going to tell the students that they have an assignment since it's not graded. So I would select this option, add to students' to-do list, because then it will generate an assignment for them on their calendar. It'll just pop up as a notification of something that they need to complete, but not necessarily as something that is graded. And then you can select that date. So if it's available tomorrow, maybe I want the first notification to pop up tomorrow that they need to complete this. So again, you have those same two options down here, save or save and publish. Click on save and publish. Now the students can see this. This is exactly what they're seeing on their side with the directions. And down here, this is what the students actually press to put their initial response. So they're going to click reply, and a text box will generate for them, and then they'll post their reply. Once they post their reply, it shows up here, and all the other students' responses would be here as well. They can reply to each other if you select that option, or you can reply to your students individually here in the feed if you'd like to. Again, the written instructions are below. I will link the video to making groups in that written instruction portion. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the video on creating discussions.